Okay, hey everybody, it is Kayla Troutman talking. I'm a Wildtree director. If you don't know me and you're from a different org checking out this playback, or if you're on live and you're not sure who I am, I've been with Wildtree 4.5 years. I live in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin with my husband, Nate, who's out in the living room right now trying to wrangle my almost 3-year-old toddler, Macaulay, our son, and then we have a yellow lab. And when I came here to Wildtree 4.5 years ago, I never imagined in a million years that I would be doing this full time or actually doing anything more than just enjoying that 20 to 25% off discount. So if you're watching this tonight and that's you, that is a great reason to come here. That is not at all not okay and not wanted. But what happened was I hosted a launch party, like we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. I started doing some of this daily activity and I created a business. And at first it was $600 a month, and then $1,000, and then $1,200, and then $2,000, and then $3,000, and then $4,000, and it became my full-time income. And so if you're watching this video with any background here at all, whether you've been here 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years or 20 years, which nobody has, but let's just say the point is at the end of the day, what Carolyn and I want to go over tonight, and I'm going to let her introduce herself in a second, is really just how, if you're going to sit down and work Wildtree, you should spend that time. What's the best way for you to spend working Wildtree time and what isn't? And Carolyn and I both took our minds and put them together. So you're going to want to grab a piece of paper and a pen now while Carolyn does introductions of herself, and number it 1 to 10, okay? Because that's where we're going to start tonight. But go ahead, Carolyn. You do a little bit of your background and talking.
Awesome. Thanks, Kayla. So, hey guys, I know I've been on a call one other time with some of you guys. And for those of you who don't know me, my name's Carolyn Verplugen. I'm a team leader. I live in Havre, Montana, with my husband, CJ, who's also out in the living room, but he's wrangling Netflix. So we don't have anything quite so difficult that we have to deal with. We have 3 dogs, 3 Huskies. They keep us super busy. I joined Wildtree as a way to just eat healthier after I got married. I really joined for the discount. I didn't want to sell. I didn't want to do anything like that ever. I'm not a salesperson, all these things that we tell ourselves. And then I realized we needed some extra money. If I could have an extra, $100 a month for groceries, that would be great. And I started doing, like Kayla said, some of these daily activities that we're going to talk about today, and started noticing that, holy cow, I didn't do very much. I did 1 party this month and I made $100. Imagine if I did 2 of these a month or 3 of these a month, or imagine where we could be 6 months from now if I did 6 of these in a month. And that was kind of how it started. And it's just grown from there. I've, like Kayla said as well, watched my income grow from a couple $100 a month to, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. And it's just been amazing. And I'm really excited to share all this stuff with you guys today, because I think that what we're going to talk about is super important and something that is really going to help you guys go into every single day just really focused and just being as productive as possible. So
awesome. You are a rock star, my friend. Okay, so first thing I want you to write at the top of your 1 through 10 is this note. If you are watching this and you're brand spanking new and you did an orientation call or you didn't, I really encourage you to talk to your upline for 20 minutes if you can. Do an orientation call. If you haven't, or you're like, that's just not me, I hate the phone, everything I say can be modified. There is no only one way in this business, okay? I want to leave you with that note. So write that at the top of your sheet. There's not just one way. But we're going to tell you how you can effectively use work time and grow your business probably the fastest by proven ways. And if one of these things isn't quite the way that you're like you hear Carolyn say it and you're like, I'm never doing that. Like I will never do it if that's the way I have to do it, then modify it. Because that's what I did every step of the way until I built confidence up to do it the way that my coach was telling me, or until I found my niche or my groove and I got to a place where I was actually, without even meaning to, doing these steps. Okay, so that's number 1. The second thing is, with that, if you're new, everything we're going to talk about does relate directly to our training site. So write this website down. If you don't know it, you can go to rep.wildtree.com. That's your back office. Log in, okay? That's roots. It's your back office, rep.wildtree.com. And when it comes up, you'll have your dashboard, and underneath resources, there is training, and it pulls up a brand new site. It's got beautiful training. If you have not gone through the Getting Started section and the Sales 101 section, That's like the very first thing you should do. And the reason I say that is then everything we say will make sense. Because right now, if you haven't done that, take notes and it's all going to come into play as you do that. But that's the very most important. Like, I just really want you to know that the getting started section and the sales 101 section are like first and foremost. Then there's a whole party section as well. So you're going to hear Carolyn and I use some lingo tonight, like hostess coaching or booking parties, and that you're going to learn where's there a script, Kayla? In Parties 101, under booking parties, there's an actual script with words. So we're going to give you overview tonight, and now you guys know where you can go find the resources. Carolyn, anything you want to add to that before I give them tip number 1?
No, I think that's perfect. We have everything lined out for what you need to do. So
yeah, because I really wanted to make sure I said that everything we say, the language is going to sound like you probably already know a little bit about our industry, but if you don't, you're not behind. Just go to that place, rep.wildtree.com, log in, go to resources, and then training, and go through those sections. You guys, none of them take more than like an hour. If you want to spend more than an hour because you want to work on it a little bit, sure, but you can whip through that whole thing. So my tip number 1 then in our top 10 tips of what is working with Wildtree or what should you do during your working time is always have a plan. So maybe your first plan for tomorrow is getting into the training and working as far as you can in your 30 minutes and getting started. Maybe you already are through that and you have a Hot 100 list. So your to-do is going to be some of the items that Carolyn and I are about to tell you. But whatever it is, my tip number 1 is have a plan. And Lynn Conway used to be a corporate trainer with Wildtree, and she taught me this invaluable tip, and I want to share it with you guys. Always mark on your to-do list the 3 hottest things that must get done in your life. It can be Wildtree or it can be otherwise. So I used to, when I worked full-time, I would put my note by my phone, charging in another room. P.S. My phone never charges in my bedroom. I would have at the top the 3 hottest things. So maybe it was get groceries, or we had nothing to eat. Or maybe it's schedule a mammogram. Or maybe it's, schedule a dentist appointment, or make sure to pick up dog food, or whatever it is. There's things in your life you got to do. Sometimes it was contact field sales services about that workshop kit, or invoice customer Sally. 3 hottest things that must get done the next day. Do you know how good it feels to knock those 3 things out right away and then work the rest of your Wildtree time on whatever is on your list? So income producing activity is not going to happen on accident, but neither will the life things that hold you back sometimes. You sit down to work Wildtree, you never made your mammogram appointment, all you're going to think about is your mammogram appointment. You're not going to be effective here. So do the hard shit first, get it done, and then you'll be able to do the rest of the things that have to get done. So that's my tip number 1. Always have a plan when you sit down to work.
Awesome. So my tip number 2 really just kind of goes along with that. So once you have a plan, and something that's really helped me is have specifics to focus on. So kind of like Kayla just said, have your 3, no matter what that you need to get done per day, whether it be Wildtree or not. Have things that you can specifically focus on for your business, your income producing activities that you're going to do. For example, I do 10 calls a day, Monday through Friday when I'm working my business. Now, you don't necessarily need to do 10. This goes back to working with your upline, whether that be myself or Kayla. We'll take your goals. We'll help you reverse engineer those into what it would look like for you. But have something specific to focus on so that when you get ready to go, you sit down, you have your 10 contacts in front of you that you're going to reach out. And all I have to do is get these 10 done and they're done. But when you have a plan, it's so much easier to go into it. I used to go in to my weeks. I would sit down and I'd be ready to work and I'd be like, all right, this is my working time. Now what am I going to do? Who am I going to call? I'm working, but I wasted so much time trying to figure out at that time who I was going to call or who I was going to reach out to. Whereas if I had those 10 people or whatever your number is lined up before, then you can just go right into it. You don't have to sit there and just think about what you're going to do and really waste some time doing that. So that would be my tip, is have specific numbers that you're going to focus on, that you're going to do.
I love that. And actually, Carolyn, you're number 3 right away again, but I wanted to just interject quick. I think that this is so important because a lot of people come to us and they wonder, how do you get a full calendar, or how do you have customers that just post in your recipe club, Kayla. You have people that just cook with Opa Greek and just share on a Tuesday morning that they made a sandwich with Opa. How do you get that? And it actually comes down to what Carolyn's going to share in 2 and 3 here. So 2 is to do your 10 reaches a day. And then with Carolyn's number 3, it's going to piece together that when you do this day after day after day and you connect with people, you really touch them in a personal way, even if it doesn't to you seem very important. Like, okay, well, yeah, that's great. I checked in with her. Her taco seasoning was great. She's happy. Now what? You never know when she will message you a month later and say, hey, my family's now gluten-free. I need more Wildtree like ASAP. Or, hey, my husband lost his job last week and I've been watching you, Carolyn, on Facebook. I want to be on your team. So this part is not just the immediate sale, booking, or joining your team, which is what we all want. We want numbers. We want results. But there's a lot more to it. Okay, go ahead, Carolyn. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's awesome. So once you have your 10 people or however you're going to reach out to, what I like to do is I like to separate those people. So I kind of have a system I try to go through every single day, and that is making 5 of those 10 follow-ups. So whether that be people that have hosted parties with me in the past, people that have attended a party in the past, somebody that was going to order but never ended up, just follow-ups. So people that have tried Wildtree before, and then I like to make the other 5 completely new people who maybe have liked to post in the past that I posted, or maybe somebody that asked me, when I was out with some girlfriends or something, hey, what is this thing that you do? And I said, oh yeah, I'll check in with you sometime about it. And I never did, just I'm trying to think of the word. I'm totally going mind blank here, but just categorize, there we go, those different groups of people so that, again, it's not quite so overwhelming of the 10 people I need to talk to, but okay, I'm just going to do 5 follow-ups. That's so easy. Then I'm going to reach out to 5 people. That's so easy. And like Kayla said, that is how, when you continually have that interaction and you're following up with people and you're reaching out with people, I feel like you are building that trust with people. They feel like they can come to you and they can talk to you and that you're there for them. So that would be my tip number 3. Kayla, do you want to add anything?
No, I thought that was great. So if you just joined us, 1 was having a plan, 2 was making daily reaches, and 3 was having them separated so you're not just constantly only cycling back through past customers, which is important because Rachel Hollis just did a podcast recently on how the quickest way to grow your business is actually to go to the customers that already buy and get them to buy more. That is what insurance agents do and real estate agents circle back around and car dealerships do, of course. But we also need to make sure that those reaches are new people so that you book parties and grow your team, because essentially that's how you're going to find new people, new circles, and parties obviously create new circles. So amazing. Thank you, Carolyn. Those were awesome. Okay, number 4. In your reaches, you want to be adding events to your calendar, right? Shake your head if you know that our industry, party plan in general, really features one-on-one consultations, parties, vendor events, face-to-face interaction, right? And of course you can do Facebook parties. Of course you can do things over the internet. We know that, you guys. We've got a beautiful app. Go market any way you want. But if you really want to grow a business, you're probably not on this call if you don't really want to grow a business here. Hostess coaching and simplified inviting is critical to your events. So I'm not going to say in number 4, book parties, because that's assumed. You need to be booking parties. That's a part of Carolyn's number 2 and number 3 here. Okay, making your reaches and sorting them out so you're doing follow-up and new customers. Number 4 is getting invites out when people book. Why in God's green earth does anybody wait 2 months to send an invite out after someone books? I am still puzzled by that. And if you'd like to send me a private message and have a conversation, I would love to chat with people about this. This makes no sense to me. If a hostess books with me, even right now in January, I'm taking one of those fun. So I go in the back office, I go under parties, I do, new party, I create a tasting, and I put it out to January, which is fine. But I can now save the graphic that the invite creates for me. And there's like a wintry kind of looking one. It's more fallish, but it can pass as winter. And I send that out to her. So she sends it to her friends to save the date. Don't not do that part. So income producing activity, after you've made your reaches for the day and you're working on, orders and bookings and recruits in those reaches, do the good customer service you owe your current parties or vendor events or whatever you have. So if you have a one-on-one consultation, check in and make sure that she's still showing up for that one-on-one. If you've got a team call scheduled with your newest recruit, check in and make sure she's showing up for that call. You got a party, make sure she has either a save the date or a simple invite, and she knows how to get people to come to her party. And if you have a vendor event, make sure you're working with the coordinator and you're getting people to come to that event, and she is as well, because that's the whole point of a vendor event. Guys, this is so important. You can tell I'm getting red. Like I'm getting sweaty. I have to take my shirt off. Just kidding. I'm not going to take my shirt off. I actually do have a shirt underneath though. Don't get too worried. But my point is, like, this is so important. Okay. So number 4, hostess coaching and simplified inviting always creates the best long-term growth and the best success in your business. So don't underestimate the importance of this in your working hours. If all you get done for the day is making some reaches and getting out any current invites that you have on your calendar, that's a huge successful day. Because communication with a hostess does what Carolyn just said, fosters relationships, it's networking, and she's going to trust in you. She's going to get people to come to her house, and that's where your next recruit, your next bookings, and your big sales are going to come from. So that is number 4.
Awesome. I want to add a little bit onto that too. Just a tip that I've found that goes along with this perfectly. When you and you're booking a party or somebody books a party with you, you do immediately want to get that invite out and save the date as well. But I have found, especially, this just happened to me last month, it's so important to schedule your first host coaching call right away. At least for me, it has been, because if you wait 2 months, like Kayla said, they might forget about it. You want to get the invite out right away, but it's really helped me to have a conversation on the phone with them, not a text message, not a Facebook message. Personally, I had a party booked last month, and she booked 2 months in advance, and I did not schedule a host coaching call with her right away. I sent her a text, and guess what? She canceled, and she's never gotten back to me. But if you schedule that call right away, then for me, I feel like it's been so much more successful. Kayla, you might be able to as well.
Yeah, I want to just add to that. That's interesting that you say that. I'm not a big phone person. If you know me, I categorize myself as a millennial, but this is funny because Carolyn's younger than me. So that's not going to work on this call, is it? But interesting though, I'm glad you said that. I never take for granted though. I tell them on Mondays, I coach my hostesses. Are you a phone person or a texting person or Facebook Messenger? And then when they answer that, I say, well, awesome. If you're okay with Facebook Messenger, I'm going to send you 3 voice clips and a little to-do activity, which is the 40 guests in 4 minutes. And if you get those all, I just at least need you to give me a thumbs up or something, just like if we were on the phone. I want to get your buy-in basically and make sure you understand. If I do the phone, obviously I follow the script as is in the Parties 101 training. If we do text, then I kind of do like 3 text messages like, okay, so do you understand how many you should invite? And do you understand how to fill out, the 40 guests in 4? Things like that. Why that's so important though is I don't wing it. Notice how I set up a specific thing. My next office hours are Thursday. You will get a save the date and an invite from me. And then I hostess coach, or I work with my hostesses on Mondays. Is it cool if I call you, or do you prefer a Facebook, conversation? And it goes different ways, but I just want to make sure again, it's not that I don't call because I'm afraid of the phone. It actually just seems to be harder sometimes for my hostesses to catch me when I'm okay with talking on the phone and not being away from my family and vice versa. And we do this business for flexibility. When I was working full-time like Carolyn still is, I used my lunch hour or time in the car. Different story. I could count on being in the car. I had to be at work at a certain time. I was there for my lunch hour. In this season, Macaulay may nap, he may not. Today he was screaming at 4:20 when my best friend from high school called. I literally could not hear anything she was saying. And she's like, I'm going to hang up, bye. And it's cool because she's my best friend, but that's not so cool if it's a hostess. So in my season, I give options, but there's a clear expectation I hostess coach on Mondays, and I don't fail. If I tell them I'm going to do it, I'll stay up till 9:23 at night if I have to and send my hostess coaching message on Monday night still because I told him I was going to do that. So I'm glad you said that, Carolyn. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh yeah. Number 5 is mine too. Number 5 going on. So number 4 in general, host coach, follow the Parties 101 training and just guys treat it like it's the most important part of your business. So that's definitely a priority when you sit down to work. Number 5, during my work time, I always set a goal to make one person feel special. This is going to sound really dumb, but this is really important. Okay. So right before you're done working for the day, if this is like a way you can reward yourself, help somebody that has a crap ton of Wildtree in their pantry. Send them a message that says, hey, I thought of you. I know you have that seafood seasoning that maybe is a little bit harder to use up. Here's my favorite soup from one of our old workshop kits. P.S. If you never had that soup, it's amazing with the salmon in there, salmon chowder from Sunset Suppers. Send something like that to her. It's going to make her feel so special and so loved. Or maybe you think of a customer that you know has like a ton and you know that they probably have everything for the sheet pan dinners, the new dinners in a dash bundle. Send her that packet and say, hey, I thought of you. I thought you'd like these with how busy your family is. Compliment someone's family pictures this fall. Say Merry Christmas to somebody. Offer to take a meal to somebody who's sick. It doesn't matter what the hell you do, okay? What you do is irrelevant. It's from your heart. You don't need me to tell you. Think about if you did just one thing a day 5 times a week. And it can be small. It can be cheering on a Beachbody coach in her business, which I did today. And I could tell it just made her feel a million times better because her life right now is hard with her little girls and her husband traveling. Just nice things, even a shout out on someone else's Wildtree wall. Go and find an encouraging graphic and drop it on one of your teammates, your peers' walls. But one thing a day during your working time will pay off big because it will complete your working time, or if you need to do that in between reaches and hostess coaching, it refocuses your mind that this is not just work, although it is work. You have to do the work, you guys, to make money, but this is also way deeper than that, or you wouldn't choose this industry because this industry is way harder to get in the beginning than it is to just go work at McDonald's for whatever an hour and stand behind the counter. Would you like fries with that? Like, I'm not being funny. I worked at Subway. 6-inch or 12-inch. That's what I used to say to people. I was really, really cool. My point is that was easier to learn than this industry, but you come here because there's a lot more that you can take away and you can change people's lives. And so my number 5 is each day I try to make somebody feel special. Some mama in my season of life, I just thank her for her order, or I send somebody an email, just something. Okay, that's my number 5. Do you want to add to it, Carolyn?
No, I know I can honestly say I remember a time when you reached out to me when I first started and made me feel special. I don't know if you know that, but you did, and I have not forgotten. It was like over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. So tip number 6, we kind of already talked about this a little bit because I got ahead of myself. So I might switch it up a little bit, is make your reach outs personal. So for me, I just talked about how a phone call works good for me because I have my specified lunch hour that I do my work. Now, Kayla does it differently. Like we talked about at the beginning of this, there's no wrong way to do this as long as you're doing it. So I don't want to beat a dead horse with this because we already kind of talked about it. So I would say make your reach outs personal and make sure you are doing them. As long as you say what you're going to say, that's super important.
Yeah, and I think we're all guilty of that, like not doing a good job at it. Or let's play the other side, like Carolyn just said. If I have a phone call set up and I absolutely cannot call, do you think I just don't call? No, I either attempt it and then I say, hey, Marjorie, I can hardly hear you. Is it okay if we hang up and we just text, or can we reschedule? Or I send a text message ahead of time. Or I botch the whole call in the morning if the day's gone awry and I'm just honest with my customers. But every reach I do is personal, and I love voice. I love those little voice clips you can do on Facebook because my customer gets it, and many people still don't even know you can do that on Facebook. So they get it and they hear my peppy little voice say, hey, Judy, it's been a month since I saw you. Are you eating your freezer meals? Blah, 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 blah. They love it. So personal, love it. If you can do a phone call, that's the first best way. If you can do voice, second best way. Everything else is still okay. But customers get so many emails in a day, it almost feels like to them like another thing to do. So the more personal you can make the reach and really touch their heartstrings somehow, the better you're going to do. And I don't say that in a tacky way. Don't reach out to someone to sell them something. Reach out to them because we have amazing products that may actually help their life. That's the key thing. Or amazing business opportunity or amazing hostess plan. Okay, number 7. Reach out to the last 10 to 15 people who have liked or commented on posts that you've never worked with. So people will ask us all the time, where do you find more people? Carolyn told you up above how to differentiate your time and spend, part of your reaches on current clients and part on new. This is the new. 10 to 15 people. Make a list right now. Add it to your Hot 100 list. And again, you can find details on that in the Getting Started section of the training. But make your Hot 100 list and keep adding 10 to 15 new people. If you're on Instagram, you get random people that are liking you throughout the week. If you're on Facebook, you might be getting that. If you have a recipe club, you may have people in there that have never purchased. Reach out to those people. They need to go on your list, and those need to be part of your reaches. That's my number 7.
Awesome. So my number 8 tip would be when you're working, make sure you're not distracted. So when you're working and you're reaching out to customers and you're host coaching and you're doing all these things, I would really recommend don't have social media open on your computer. Don't be checking your Snapchats. Don't be watching TV in the background or something like that, because you're going to find, you'd be amazed how easily you get distracted even when you don't think you do. So along with having your focused work time of who you're going to talk to, making things personal, it's going to be really hard if you're distracted, if you've got One Tree Hill or something on in the background. I know it is for me. So
I'm so guilty. I told my team recently, if you're not in my org, I'll share this with you. Over the summer, I got hooked in some loops of Netflix series. Dumb. It totally takes your attention and you go like this. And you're supposed to be typing an email. And then instead of typing the word next, you type last because that's what you heard in the TV show. It's just a complete waste of time. I'm back on track. You'll be happy to know. And here's some efficiency stats for you. I get up in the morning, and if I have that like craving to go on social media, fine. I lay in bed for a few minutes and I look at the clock and I say, I'm only going to lay here for 11 minutes or 20 or whatever it's going to be. But I know that I'm going to get up. I'm going to pray. I'm going to go to my First 5 app. I'm going to go to the bathroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, put on something presentable, and then get to work if that's my work time, or get my workout in. That time-sucking stuff, don't ever let it trick you, is not work. Since sharing things to post on Facebook or even sharing a recipe, I hate to tell you, yes, that is kind of work, but that should be the last thing you do. That should be like the fun part of the job, when you take a picture of your dinner or take a picture of your kids with the newest Wildtree shipment that came in or whatever it is and share it, but don't get sucked up in that. So I love number 8. Be focused when you're working. Don't deceive yourself as to what's work. Number 9, recruiting always pays. It's always the best way to grow your business, right? But if I start with, at the beginning of this call, go back to all your, recruit leads and follow up with them and talk to your team members. That's all you'll do. You won't do anything else, because that's way more fun to coach team members or cheer them on. So here's kind of how I fit that in. If I have hot recruit leads, people that I know would either A, be amazing at this, they're on my dream team, or B, they've shown interest, they are in my contacts that Carolyn said is number 2 and number 3. So they're in my reaches already, okay? They should be the top reach of the day. But if I'm then just done with my reaches, I've reached my number of people, I've coached my hostesses, I've made somebody feel super special for the day, and I'm trying to think of more people like that I could, work with, that I would want to work with. That's the coolest part about our job. We get to pick who we work with. I do some special, like, hey girl, I just thought of you this afternoon because we have our upcoming Discover Wildtree event Sunday night at 8:00 Central, and I'm wondering if I could have you check this out. Give me your feedback afterwards. We've got a fun little prize happening, if that's the truth. Obviously, lately we've had all kinds of incentives and stuff going. So you guys get the gist, right? Like, I use that end of my working time because recruiting always pays the biggest. So anytime you have left, I circle back to that. With that, that's when I do pull out my phone and I make my job look sexy. I show a picture of me working at my desk, which you guys is packed with inspirational things. Everything's from rocks that say motivational words that I can rub if I'm nervous, like confidence, love, faith, hope, to poker chips from Las Vegas, to all things that make me want to be here. People love seeing that. They love seeing me and Macaulay just rocking it out during the day, right? Getting the blocks of time done somehow while we're playing choo-choos. I make the business look like it's something that people can do, whether they're super busy, retired, empty nester, need money, could care less about money, love to cook, hate to cook, whatever it is. I foster relationships. So while we're telling you during your main work time to put your phone away, you also can really utilize it. And tonight's not the night to go into details on how to best do that, but I run a recipe club online, which has been amazing for servicing my customers, helping them use products, comparing creamy ranch dressing to Kraft ranch dressing. Like, that stuff's important. I also keep up on stories every day on Instagram, which also posts to Facebook. So I'm really doing one platform, but utilizing both free platforms. And my stories are gaining me more momentum and more new customers, because stories are meant to be the 24-hour view of what you're doing. And this is what I do. I Wildtree, and I'm proud of that. So social media can come out and it can play a big part, but it's after the other work is done. So that's my tip number 9.
Awesome. And the last tip that I have, Kayla, that was really, really good, would be to go into your day with a goal. So what is that? What is that? Is it, the 10 reaches you want to make per day? Is it, I want to go into today, my calendar is empty. I am not getting off the phone or stop messaging or anything like that until I have booked 2 parties today. Or I have 4 people on my hot recruiting list that I have been too scared to reach out to, that I'm just going to do the 5-second rule, take a deep breath, and I'm just going to call them. And if that is all I do today, that's great, but I'm going to make sure it gets done. So I don't know how many, I would imagine all of you are very goal oriented. That's why we're all in this business. We all love to achieve goals and things. So I would suggest doing that as well. Have something that you're working towards that you're trying to do. That will just help you just really be as focused as possible along with everything else.
Awesome. Okay, we have just a couple minutes. Who has a question for us? Ask questions and we'll get them on the recording. And then I'll give you just, when there's 30 seconds left, I'll give you a wrap-up thought for your work time. Hey, Lori. I saw you look up there. Beautiful.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Anybody have any questions for us? Was this helpful to anybody? Anything stand out as like, oh, that was a good tip that I can use?
You always have good tips.
Oh, you're so nice.
I think a good thing was talking about like balancing the lists and the goals with doing something nice, because I think that helps you like just sort of decompress from all the checklist type stuff, and you can kind of get uplifted to go back at it.
Yep. I also will tell you too, real quick, I don't always do this all in like a 30-minute chunk. So let's just quickly talk about the different styles of work. Some people work 2 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Some people work 30 minutes to an hour a day. Some people work like I do, sporadically throughout a 12-hour period, and I can never really tell you when that's going to be, because this job can be done around Macaulay, and that's the best blessing. If that wasn't the case, this wouldn't be the right career for me. So my work might look like, Sherry, I get up, I get those maybe 2 phone calls made right in the morning, two of my 3 most important things. Feed Macaulay breakfast. Do the 3rd most important thing. Start making some reaches. Get distracted. Say something nice to someone on Instagram or make someone's day, comment on some Facebook posts or things to just really do that feel good thing that you're saying, and then get back to my hostess coaching, my invites and things. So it's not always perfect, you guys. And that's kind of the message I want to make sure I leave you with before we run out of time. You just got to do it. Carolyn said it on the call. Perfect. I know Lori knows it because she's been at my house. I know Sarah knows it and Brandy knows it. I know you guys know this, but don't overcomplicate it. Here's the thing. I just watched a friend leave Wildtree and go to another company, and she is selling lots of clothing. She's selling workout clothing. You better not go sell with her because you'll not be my friend anymore. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. I'm really excited for her. I'm kidding. But something that I noticed is a couple months back, I noticed she had given up here. She couldn't get herself restarted. And you want to know what the biggest thing is? She had overcomplicated it. She got lost in what she had not done or stopped doing or lost in momentum. And she couldn't just sit down for the day and feel good about the list we just gave you guys. So I just want to tell you, like, your best is enough, but you have to do the work. So this industry is the industry it is because in order to make it here, really, you got to love and serve more than any other job. When you're in sales, you have to love and serve, or you are the bad car salesman like in Matilda. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Okay, everyone knows what I'm talking about. I saw smiles. If you don't, go watch the movie, but not while you're working, okay? Go watch the movie in your free time. But you got to love and serve. You got to have grit, and you got to have that energy. Like, why do people want to buy from Kayla? I'm pretty sure it's not the taco seasoning alone. I'm pretty sure it's this full package of greasy hair and craziness, and you just never know what you're going to get. You don't have to be that, but I know Lori brings her own amazing package, and Sherry does. Like, you guys are what they want. So if you do the daily work and you're patient with it, it will